Hello, welcome to the KSW Painting Euro B8 Supercar Series Season 6, Round 1 here at Montreal Live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is a very excited Marco Barbanero. And Marco, often I hear people say, oh, it feels just yesterday like the last season started. Genuinely, it feels like about a month ago that Season 5 started, but here we are, Season 6. We ought to know about these guys by now. I've covered a few series of this championship already, and we are so excited about this first round of the season.
Absolutely, we are. Hello everyone, welcome. This is going to be a fantastic season once again. Season 6 for the Euro V8 Championship, and look at the entry list. We got 30 drivers, everyone more than capable of winning a race or putting on a show, and we have some old faces returning, some new faces here, and a couple of surprises, because we can see in the entry list and on your cameras it should be right now, it is on a lap, yes, it's Michael Evdoka, the Season 4 champion. We also have, which is an absolute pleasure to have him back. And also we have another driver that last season only did the media day. It's Victor Tanaka, and he was an absolute, main actor, main character of that media day, because he was absolutely putting on a show for the fans. So glad to have him back again. And I think Sam will learn about a lot of new drivers. We've seen, for example, Diego Catalan, who's here. He put on a fantastic show at Donington Park in the media day. Other drivers, for example, there are Ara Stadler, and of course the usual suspects, of course Johnny Brandon, Nicole Foggy, Chris Jackson, and all the other very quick guys. Tony Kusterman as well, of course, who will fight for the title at the end of the season.
Absolutely. We've got the Season 1 champion, Season 2 champion, Tony Klusterman, of course, around. And then, of course, Season 4 champion, Michael Evdoka. And Season 5 champion, the reigning champion, Johnny Brandon. Also got Jake Burton. Haven't seen him about before. He's up on the front row currently. The media day really showed this guy, Diego Catalan, is well worth for the fight. He's only 5th on the grid currently, but it's ever so close amongst these drivers so far. It's so excited about this. Also, Tanaka, who you mentioned before, I think I was looking earlier, got the 4th most wins out of anyone in this series. So it should be very competitive as well. Of course, last time we were here in this series, Marco, was for the media day for Season 5, and what a crazy 3 races that was. And, well, this is the circuit that offers up crazy races. And if you want to get a surprise victory, this maybe is your chance. But of course, with such a star-studded lineup, it's going to be difficult to squeeze past all your opposition.
Absolutely, we will see. Of course, this is always a tricky track, always a racetrack that brings in surprises because of the close walls, because of the very hard braking zones. Especially with these cars, it's not going to be easy to stop the cars for the chicanes. And look at that, because Jake Barton was almost sideways coming out of the second chicane. I hear a lot of debate. The first corner, some people say it's a chicane, some people say it's not a chicane. I will say that is not, even though I think it is. So the first chicane is the one after the first little stretch after the first corner, then we have the second one, and then the third one right before the hairpin here, beautiful hairpin here, another passing opportunity, then the big backstretch, and another chicane. So several passing opportunities, Sam. Of course, the problem with that is with all these passing opportunities, you can have drivers that sometimes take too big of a risk, and we might see some dive bombs and some contacts, and also these very high curves. Look at that, absolutely fantastic the way Jake Burton took them. It's going to be, I think, a very chaotic first race of the day.
Oh, Burton improved. It wasn't enough. Still second on the grid. You could see it wasn't a clean lap by any means. He is 8/1000th off the pole. So we'll just go through the grid in a minute once qualifying is over. Still a few drivers just completing their lap times right now. I think Victor Tanaka, Greg Carr currently with a good performance in 9th place. He's yet to put his time in. Rapuga as well, just Jacob I don't think has completed his lap either. So just a few more drivers to come through. And well, this is really teeing off very nicely. And of course, the championship as well, Marco. I think for my Facebook post earlier on, I think Klosterman, Brandon, and Foggy are probably the favourites to start off this season. But of course, there's just so many ups and downs. No one's really going to have a clean season throughout, and it's just about how you can limit those off rounds and just get as consistent as you possibly can, because that'll probably be what it comes down to.
Exactly, and we've seen many times that consistency is the key in winning this championship. And I'd say that most of the all the the series regulars know this. It's going to be interesting to see how the new drivers adapt to this, because we've seen some very quick newcomers in the media day. So they have the speed. It remains to be seen if they have the consistency to battle it out until the end. It's a very long season, so it's going to be a good one. And this is the very first starting grid.
Yes, here we go. Tony Klosterman on pole position. We've said that quite a few times. It was very close between him and Jake Burton, reigning champion. Joining Brandon starts in 3rd. Nico Foggy was a little bit detached, about 3/10 of pole, it's not far, in 4th. And then Diego Katzan was so impressive at Donington Park. Expect him to perhaps win this one. Richard Warman really on the pace today, only 6/10 off the pole sitter. Chris Jackson, good to see him back. He was about a second off his teammate, though, in 7th. Michael Avdoka starts in 8th, where you really don't know what to expect from Michael today. Greg Carr in 9th, and of course, Victor Tanaka in 10th. That lineup in the top 10, absolutely superb. And now, of course, the rest of the field will scroll through for you now. Of course, Klosterman, so good in qualifying. It was his race pace, though, last season, Marco, which perhaps cost him on a couple of occasions. He really needs to try to get a good start, and he's going to have to defend this one if he's going to win the first race of the season.
Exactly, and that first corner, first lap especially, will be crucial. Like I said, hard braking zone immediately for these cars. So we will see. Sometimes we see even in real life drivers coming 2-3 wide into that first corner. So it's going to be super interesting to see who is going to have the best launch of the grid. Not always an easy thing to do with these cars. Look at that absolutely fantastic field. We have 30 drivers, like I said, and it's going to be absolutely crazy going into the first corner, the first lap. Prepare yourself, because this is going to be fantastic race 1, and then a little bit longer race 2 with the reverse grid. So what more can you ask?
Absolutely. We wait to see. Here we go. Tony Klosterman from the pole position. The way the Never Quit Racing driver wanted to start. Jake Burton alongside him on the front row. And away we go here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And Klosterman gets a very nice start. Burton's going to be on the outside, though. He might be able to muscle his way round, but no. Klosterman really strong on the brakes. Almost losing out there was Burton to Brandon, but he's just had to stop. And now his teammate, Foggy, is going for the inside. The XVR drivers side by side. How often are we going to see this season, as Brandon just about pulls ahead? Not too many changes. In fact, no changes in the top 8. Tanaka's got ahead of Carr as the drivers go through that first chicane. It's Klosterman leading away there. It was a really nice launch time, but already you can see he's having to defend.
Yes, the field very well behaved throughout the first few corners, and we've seen the two XDR guys side by side. Now Jake Barton might fancy his chances into this chicane here. As in the back we hear some... oh, somebody blew the engine. Someone blew the engine.
Foggy! My good, Nico Foggy is out of the race. Well, the driver, who many tip to be the favourite for the championship, he has blown his engine in quite incredible circumstances. I do not know how that could have happened. Clearly downshifted too much, but I didn't even realise that was an option on this car. And well, that could be a big change. What a dramatic opening lap of the season.
Absolutely incredible what just happened. We will get back to that when and if things calm down for just a bit. We have a little bit of a breakaway because, of course, this engine failure created some chaos in the front of the pack. Klusterman, Barton, and Brandon, the top three of the race.
Burton just backing off there. He's been relatively kind so far to Tony, but boy, is the pressure going to be on him. And you can see Klusman is offline almost all the way through here. Again, struggling to get the power down. This isn't a traditional overtaking spot, and Klusman just has to defend the inside. It's incredible how the top three have pulled away despite Klusman's defense, and he's just deep into every single corner. He's so scared that the driver behind is going to be able to outbrake him, and Klusman is having to defend into every single one here. Can Brandy get involved, or will he just watch these two battle it out right now as Burton gets a really nice run here? He decided to back out of this move on the last lap. This time, Klusman is going all the way to the inside of the circuit to fend it off. Not too much of an opportunity round the outside. And while this continues, this is inevitably going to turn into an 8-9 car chain.
Yes, because Diego Catalan is coming for these guys as they keep battling once again with Klusterman defending the inside, Barton on the outside.
Trying to get the cutback. Brandon's on the inside again. He really doesn't want to get involved in a collision. He knows from all the other series that he contends in that it's about playing the percentages, and there's no point really in getting involved at the moment. The gap between the top two, 1.5 tenths as they go into the chicane. If you go for a dive here, there's not much the outside driver can do, but once again, Burton just backing out of it.
Every time they run over these curves at the Wall of Champions, I'm a little bit scared. So far, so good, but the way these cars bounces on those curves is absolutely scary at that corner.
Absolutely. And, well, Klusman this time taking a slightly better line. I don't know if we could just go back to that foggy instant whilst we go through this more tight and twisty part of the circuit where maybe it's also slightly less likely. Just to see kind of how he blew up his engine from earlier on, which has put him out of the race, obviously. And here it was. Can you explain that, Marco?
Absolutely, I have no idea what happened there. It was sudden, and let's go back a little bit more with the graphics on. Not showing, but sadly, for the gear, but you see, that was very, very weird.
Yeah, he didn't change down the gears like unusually. He is still in this race. I think Richard Warren got past Michael Abdoka, although I'm not quite sure. That's a big chain of cars, but we really need to concentrate on this because now it is a four-way battle. This is how the race is going to be as Klusman gets tagged by Jake Burton, and now Burton's going to be under pressure from Brandon down this straight. Now, is Brandon going to take this opportunity and maybe go toe-to-toe with his old rival, Tony Klusman? Brandon looks to the inside. I don't think he's going to commit, although he is down the inside here, and I think he is going to commit. Johnny Brandon, defending champion, but he just backs out of it at the last moment.
And I can say with a certainty now, Sam, that this is officially a four-way battle for the race win, because Diego Catalan has joined the party in this.
So just look behind with Jackson and Abdoka, I think.
Here they go, side by side into the first corner.
Yeah, just so ever so slightly getting closer. Abdoka, must be said, he's dropping down the order. He's lost now 3 positions in a matter of about a lap. And there goes Tanaka up 3 places himself. But if these guys stop fighting, they could definitely catch up to the top 3. They've just got to, you know, stop bickering among each other and kind of think of the common good here, because they're going to be so much faster than the race leaders if they just follow the racing line.
Yes, and you can see Birmingham is. Did you notice that all the XDR drivers have a different color on their car? I absolutely like that. So it's orange for Brandon, it's yellow, I think. Sorry, red for Birmingham, and sadly, Foggy's car, I didn't see too much of that.
So here we go again at the hairpin. Brandon has dropped off. He's now 2nd behind the top 2. On that last lap, Diego Catalan was the fastest driver, half a second faster than Tony Klusman. It's interesting what Burton is trying to do here because he's had opportunities to at least put his nose on the inside, but he's just waiting at the moment. I'm not quite sure what his logic is there. I'm not sure if he doesn't really want to interrupt these guys, whether it's just a one-off race and he doesn't want to interfere with the championship and stuff, but he just seems very tentative right now.
Oh, we have a very slow car. I think he got a slowdown here, Aral Sedler. You know, uh, we'll see. I think that now Tony, you can see it on the screen. He's got a little bit of an advantage over Barton, just a bit. So maybe now we are in that territory where the tires start to wear out, and Barton hit the
Ooh.
barriers quite clearly. Let's see if he's got steering problems. Seems to be okay. That was a very scary moment. The car got massive understeer there. Like I said, the tires are getting worn, and the guys with a little bit more experience will be. Even though, look at that, because now Barton has actually got a great run on Klusterman. Go figure it out.
Maybe the hit with the wall has given him an extra couple of tenths. Of course, Tony is notorious for having a bit of a lead right foot. He really does use up the tyres and the fuel quite a bit in this car. And that's not what you want around such a hot track. It's 41 degrees track temperature. These guys are going to be struggling with the tyre temperatures massively. And we're only a third into this race. We've got a long way to go. Well, this is so far, these first 5 laps from Tony Klusman have been some of the best 5 laps I've actually seen from him of all time because, the amount of pressure he's coming under here around such a difficult circuit and with the temperatures so high, he's keeping it ever so slightly under control. He's not making a mistake. But whether he can keep that up for another 10 laps or not, that's completely another matter.
We'll see. You're right, lap 6 right now. 15 laps is the scheduled distance for this first race of the afternoon, or of the evening, or of the morning if you're living in the United States and North America. Barton is getting a much better line, I think, through the chicanes, and that's why he's so quick coming out of them.
Yeah, he just takes a slightly tighter line, doesn't he? And it opens up the second parts of the chicanes. Whereas Klusman's kind of going all into all the chicanes and once again going a little bit wide. You can see Brandon's trying to keep up with these guys. Really thought that Klusman would just be backing everyone up at this point. But no, it's Brandon struggling to stay in touch in third, and Katslan not getting involved too much either. As a never quit racing driver, once again down the inside. He's so good at just getting the car turned, getting the power down, and getting away from the opponent down this back straight. Of course, parallel to the rowing lake, I think in the 88 Olympics, I'm not quite sure. As once again, Burton pressurizing him, but there's really not much he can do on the outside into the final chicane.
Here we go, once again over these very high curves as another lap starts. 7 laps now on the counter, so officially I can say we are halfway through. Little bit of
We've only done
damage.
6 laps, haven't we?
There is 6 laps in the books, this is the 7. So midway through this one should be halfway through the race. Jake Barton's car has got a bit of damage on the front right.
I think he's been skimming the walls quite a bit.
Yeah, he's getting away with it. I mean, if you hit those walls like square enough, it won't actually hurt you too much. The problem is when you hurt the suspensions. And look at this chicane in particular. He gets such a massive run out of here.
Oh, he's going to try, goes around the outside here. Jake Burton, no. Thought better of it. Oh, has Klusman got a slow down here? He cut the chicane quite a bit. I thought it was a little bit slow there. But no, he's okay. And he's going to have to depend once again for the hairpin. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Brandon getting involved once again. These two fighting a little bit too much, perhaps. Because they could establish a 1-2 as once again Klusman with the wheel spin. And he's ever so under pressure. Once again, 1/10 of a second. And does Burton maybe have the overspeed? This time he's going to go to the outside of the circuit. And he is pulling alongside his Canadian rival at his home circuit. But Klusman is brave enough on the brakes And now Brandon is ever so close to these two.
Remember, we had a massive crash, bad exit from Klusterman, maybe even a slowdown. And
Yeah, he
Johnny
got a
Brandon will
slowdown.
take the lead.
What a change of events. Brandon struggling to keep up as he's almost a little bit deep on the brakes there is Burton. But Kloosman took too much first curb, gets the slowdown, and he's down into 4th place.
The defending champion is back into the top spot with a, a very surprising move.
Oh,
And
issue for Tanaka, sorry.
yeah, Tanaka is losing positions. Maybe he got a slowdown because his car is looking quite clean. Going very slow. Yeah, very, very slow Tanaka there. We will get back to that. Back to the front, because now Barton must be a little bit upset, because he did everything he could for the first 8 laps, put the pressure on Tony, closed the gap, forced Tony to make a mistake, but probably that mistake by Klusterman forced him to maybe lift just a second in order to avoid, or maybe was a bit surprised about, Tony taking the slowdown, and that's when Brandon profited from it and got the moved on, and now he's in first place, and Barton is still stuck in second position.
Yeah, will he opt for the same strategy as he went for against Tony? I think a mistake from Johnny Brandon is going to be less likely than one from Tony. Johnny usually has a little bit in reserve with his driving style. But Burton staying close at the moment. Of course, also Kloosman closing in on Katzline. He's been about half a second faster on this lap so far. So that one's going to get interesting as well as... Well, Brandon, I say that he's usually got something in reserve. He's locking up the tyres into every corner and getting quite out of shape quite regularly.
Absolutely. We will see now, I think in this lap we will have a clearer idea if through that middle chicane Barton has a better exit than his opponents. He had a better run than Klusterman most of the time, so we'll see if he's got a better run than Johnny Brandon.
Pretty equal there, although Brandon did just get a little bit of wheel spin at the last moment. These two pulling away from 3rd and 4th. And then behind that, Evdoka's got back ahead of Warmingham as well. So Evdoka, after getting a little bit of a slow start, dropping a couple of positions after a decent launch off the line, he's back up into 5th place ahead of Warmingham. And he's still 6 seconds though off P4, but could certainly be a dark horse for race 2 if we get a small reverse grid. It's incredible how much curve these guys can afford to take through that final chicane. It's always looks as though they're just going to launch themselves into the walls. Kloosman getting very close now to Katzland as oh no, he's just got another slowdown there containing Kloosman. Well, remember we saw a race, not sure if I commented it with you, Marco, in the BSR GT where we saw the race leader where we saw race leaders constantly dropping down the order due to picking up slowdowns in that final chicane. But I think we're kind of seeing the same right now with Tony Kloosman.
I think it was, yes, we did that race together a couple of seasons ago. I was about to say that because the way that these cars can handle the high curves, it's a good thing and a bad thing, because especially in this track, you have such a tiny margin for being in the good, in the clear, and getting the slowdown, that sometimes you push too much and you get that slowdown just for being a centimeter off the proper racing line.
As we see Brandon having to go full defense here. He's a little bit deep on the brakes and he almost spins it round. And now into the lead for the first time, Jake Burton. And he's got a much better launch as well. He's really been good in the traction zone so far as Jake. And he's up into the lead. It's the number 33 car. Now, can Brandon respond straight away, or will he just stay in second position? He's looking to the inside, into the final chicane, and he's almost too deep on the brakes, squirreling around But Jake Burton, where he's going to finish lap 10 in the lead, the third different leader of this chaotic race. And, well, he fully deserves that one.
He deserves that one, and now we will see his pace in a leading situation. You know, sometimes it's easier to follow than to be followed, and having Johnny Brandon in your mirrors is never a pleasant experience because, of course, he's a quick driver and also now sporting that nice number 1 on his windshield. Barton is, let's see, 1 sec because. Yeah, okay, now I get it. He's from Australia and New Zealand, so that's why it seems like he's hitting the wall every time. I started, you know, I had a little bit of a doubt about that, but now it's quite clear. So he's not hitting the the barriers every time around. It's the good old Aussie internet, which of course we can do anything about that because of physics, which are important. So, but still, so I don't think that damage on the front right is legit, or maybe it is. Still, he's getting quite a bit. You know, the damage disappears every once in a while, so it's not damage there. He's showing good pace in his first lap as the leader. Meantime, Tony Klusterman has been able to keep fourth position, and in P26 it's Nicole Foggy, and I have to thank Lane O'Connor because he said right that of course Foggy has got the nice purple stripe on his car, which I absolutely love. If you've ever seen my helmet.
I have not.
Well, it's not purple, it's magenta, but it's close enough.
This is a nice battle viewing. Samuel Buzan currently occupying the last, occupying 11th position ahead of Philip Antonia and Greg Carr. Carr down 4 positions after a superb qualifying. Also, Clyde Whiting with these guys. You can see Clyde doing quite so well as Antonia is into the pits now. So is that maybe a stop and go for not serving a slowdown? Or what?
Short on fuel,
sure.
maybe. You know, he's a new driver in the series. So we will see. Sadly, we don't have, of course, a pit crew for this car in iRacing, but when they come, I hope that iRacing implements the possibility. He's not getting on the jacks, so it's a penalty, I think. And yeah, it's not fuel because he needs a splash at this moment to finish the race. So I hope that iRacing puts the possibility of having animated pit crews even for the drivers, you know, that are not you. So we as commentators can have a clearer idea of what's going on, and also it looks very nice, I'd say.
Yes, definitely. We need all the help we can get, obviously, on Apex Racing TV, as Jake Burton, he's streaking out ahead. Goodbye, Johnny Brandon. And Jake Burton looks as though he's going to take the lead of the championship, of course, as he takes quite a bit of second curb once again there. Very confident out there still is Jake. And he's easing away from the rest of the field. Klusman has caught back up to Katzlan, so of course he dropped behind Katzlan due to a slowdown. He then got close. He then picked up a slowdown once again, fell behind, and now he's back within 7/10 of a second. Another battle he needs to watch is Richard Warmingham versus Chris Jackson. I've been watching Jackson's times, and apart from Burton, he's pretty much been the fastest driver out on circuit. But just with a couple of slowdowns earlier on, has really cost him. But if he can get a move on, he could maybe catch up to Richard Warmingham and overtake Michael Wadocka as well.
Yeah, he's very, very close to Warmingham, as you can see now from the onboard shot. Of course, if anything happens at the front, we will move back to those cars. But I want to say I feel a bit sorry for the rest of the guys that are not the top 4, because it has been very, very close racing, but especially at the top. So we couldn't focus much on them. But of course, that's why one of the reasons why we have the nice reverse wheel for race 2.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully it'll be a big reverse grid. We could get a full, I think that's an option at least. As we just fell forward with Victor Tanaka with a slowdown. As Warmingham runs wide. Chris Jackson always one to put his name into the hat for a race victory, but he's only won 2 races in this series, both at Phillip Island. Won one last season. It's quite remarkable how he hasn't won more, considering he's consistently on pace with his teammate Tony Klosterman in the races, and of course Tony with some 30 race wins in this series. But Jackson, this isn't for a race win, it's for 6th place though. The smallest reverse grid we can get is 6th as well, so it's very much worth making this move just to guarantee yourself in that reverse. And he's looking every which way to go past the XBR driver, but right now cannot make the move as we are on the penultimate lap of the race.
Yeah, Chris Jackson was a part of what I think was the saddest moment of last season, because he was in the main race, in the feature race at Laguna Seca. He was trying a contrarian strategy with a no-stopper, the only guy to try that. He was in the lead with 10 seconds in front of P2 with 10 laps to go, so it would have been very, very close in the end. And he got a big hardware failure and missed the rest of the season.
Well, he's not looking like he's going to miss any of this season as he goes past Richard Warmingham. And, he's not going to catch up to Michael Evdoka. I think he has got about half a second a lap on Evdoka, as we see side-by-side Catalan all over the place. Has he hit the wall? He seems to really be struggling out there. Or was that just on the traction? But Tony Klosterman is back up onto the podium places.
Let's get on board with Diego. I think he was just, he pushed the gas pedal a bit too hard. Yes, look at that, and then, oh! Could have been a disaster, and we've seen last season especially, massive crash, a similar crash, but at the final chicane, if you remember, in the media day. It was Tanaka and Klosterman, I think. Tanaka for sure, he braked on the grass, swerved to the right, and hit his teammate.
Oh, I think that was Jackson and Klosterman.
Jackson and Klosterman. Maybe you're right. White flag is in the air, by the way, and Jake Barton has checked out. 2.5 seconds over Johnny Brandon for the race lead. Tony Klosterman, with his move now, is sitting nicely in P3. And it seems like we are going to have our first winner of the season, Jake Barton. So everything looking good for him.
Yes, of course, this would be his debut win in this series. I assume he does Scots or something because, he's waltzed into this race and he's certainly been the fastest driver in the race. Qualifying, he only just missed out by about 2/100ths of a second, but in the race he has been well and truly the best driver out there. Has not put a foot wrong. And he's only got a couple, one more chicane to negotiate. And he will be the first race winner of the season. Of course, the championship leader, it may not last for very long because the reverse grid is going to offer up a very good race 2. But in race 1 at Montreal, race 1 of the season, Jake Burton will approach the line. And he wins here at Montreal.
Oof. With
and
style,
a great slide as well. Brandon tries to copy it, he fails miserably as Klosterman finishes in 3rd position and Diego Catalan in 4th. There was a great battle amongst those top 4, and then Michael Evdoka best of the rest. Strong drive by Chris Jackson as well at the end, and Warmingham in 7th.
So I think this performance automatically will remove Diego Catalan in the hunt for the KSW, for the club championship, because you cannot finish inside the top 5, otherwise you are immediately promoted, if I'm not mistaken, to a nice red stripe. So, nice debut for him. I mean, I would sign up. I would sign a paper if you tell me you first race, official race in V8, Euro V8, and you get P4. Absolutely. Fighting with such big names at the front. As we see other cars coming to the start-finish line, side by side, the Winter and the Pitchman. And it's going to be, I think, the number 576 car to have the best, even though looking a little bit second-hander. And other drivers are coming. Is Michael Mueller out of fuel? Maybe.
Perhaps he's just lost a position to his teammate, or not teammate, sorry, Sergei Glazkov. As Ratlinger comes across the line, he clearly had an issue. Did he come into the pits? Yes, he did.
Okay.
Not sure why.
And here comes Nico Foggy.
Yes, so lead lap crucially. Well, if we get a 24 reverse grid or a full reverse grid, well, he could be in the box seat after that engine failure in race 1. Well, what a race 1 that was. Jake Burton ends up on top, 2.5 seconds ahead of Johnny Brandon. In third was Staying Klusman. In the end, a decent recovery drive, but the win was very much in his hands. Diego Katzenstein, maybe not quite as dominant as at Donington, where he seemed to be the fast driver on circuit, but still good, solid result for him in fourth. Returning driver, season 4 champion, Michael Docker finished in fifth with Chris Jackson. A strong end for him in sixth. He was certainly one of the fast drivers out there. Richard Warmiel really showing a good promise at the start of this season in seventh, and Victor Tanaka in the end a bit of a lonely eighth after picking up a couple of slowdowns. Nikolai Bogotayev was best of the rest. A really lonely race for him. Half a minute off the lead. Maybe he could be a dark horse for race 2, as well as Harold Stadler in his first proper race in the series. Finished in 10th there with Samuel Buzan. Greg Carr, Clyde Whiting, Gary Croft, Carsten Piechman, Klaus Winter, Chas Jacobs, Sergei Glaskov, Michael Miller, and Dave Janssen in 20th place. He started in 28th, so good recovery from him. Then it's JP Boosterland, who started 29th. Bill Switzer, Edward Raprigo, who of course took a Nicole Foggy, finished in 24th after an engine failure, but you will be eligible for the reverse grid. Taylor Lane was in 25th. Then the retirees, or the guys who made pit stops, not quite sure. Philip Antonia, Andrew Hoffman, Anthony Woodward, Igor Brembik, and Michael Frost did not take the start. Well, of course, a really important reverse grid here, Marco. We've seen in this series quite a few very small ones, but I think a full is possible. Either way, I think it's going to make a very interesting grid for race 2 of the evening.
Yes, absolutely, and I think the wheel should be on your screen right now. Here we go. And so, let's roll it. It's gonna be a small one. It's going to be 7. 7.
Ooh.
So the pole man should be, drum roll please,
Richard Warmingham.
Yes. So Chris Jackson has got a great chance, starting in second place. Evdoka, Catalan, Klusterman, Brandon, and Barton. And right behind the race winner, we have Victor Tanaka in P8, the first of the guys that were left out. So an uphill battle for Nicole Foggy immediately in the championship. It's going to be an interesting race, to say the least, because we are going to have many big drivers in the front, but some of them also will start at the back. Especially Foggy has got a mountain to climb, so it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, that should be an incredible race 2 here at Montreal. Of course, double the length, and you do not want to miss it. We'll be back with you in about 25 minutes.
Before you can get on track, you'll need to calibrate your wheel and pedal set. You'll need to do this in iRacing even if you have already done this using your own controller software. Prior to entering the sim, make sure you've downloaded and installed the latest drivers from the manufacturer's website. Once that's done, follow these easy steps to calibrate your controller. We recommend calibrating in a test session, so pick a car and then click test. Don't go into a practice or official session. The last thing you want to do is have you go on track and crash into another car. Once you're in your test session, click on the Options button. You will then see Input Calibration. This is where your calibration takes place. Start by clicking on the steering button. You will then be prompted to turn your wheel fully one direction and then another. Make sure you place your wheel back into its centering position before hitting done. Now, you'll be asked to turn your wheel 90 degrees to the left. Make sure it's at 90 and hold it there while hitting done. For pedals, click on the pedals button. Here you'll be asked to press the throttle all the way down and then release it. You'll do the same for the brake and clutch pedal if you have one. For the gearbox, you'll first be asked to set buttons for sequential shifting. Once complete, a prompt will ask if you have a H pattern shifter. If not, hit no. If yes, click it and you'll begin to map the gears individually. Once you've completed these steps, you are calibrated and ready to go racing. The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing. Once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line.
to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
He's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside, and Cronkite goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
I tried this contact though. Slide left of the racetrack. Chris Benner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schumacher, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
Last year I was sitting at a desk as a sales manager, and now I'm official McLaren F1 simulator test rider.
So it's 1.4 behind.
This opportunity is huge.
Oh, that's it, 46. Wow. That's faster than the factory McLaren driver. And he's done 6 laps.
Team racing allows multiple iRacing members to team up and race together, just like in real-world endurance series. Teammates can share driving duties, spot for one another, or be a crew chief. Team racing is free both to join a team and to create one. Each teammate races on his or her own computer from wherever they want to. Your teammates can be anywhere in the world, and changing drivers mid-race is as easy as a click of a button. iRacing features team endurance events ranging from just a couple of hours to 24 hours in length. So, if you fancy taking part in an iRacing endurance race in the future, you can learn more about team racing on the teams page on the member website.
My name is Stephen Corpenos. I'm a senior web developer here at iRacing, and I work on the beta UI. It's funny because iRacing has been around for 10 years, but we want to keep delivering the best possible user experience to our customers, and we've found that the old UI isn't exactly what we're trying to deliver in 2018. We want to use new features and provide the best possible experience when using the sim. One of the projects that I've been working on is some custom heat racing configuration for hosted races. We've been listening to our customers. Everyone's been asking for custom heat races. Maybe you want to tweak a few things with the preset iRacing configurations. Well, now you can using the beta UI. So once you're at the homepage of the beta UI, you just go to create a race. Then from there you go to your set race options. And you'll notice here under event types, you can actually choose heat racing. First, I'm going to show you how to create a new format from scratch. You can choose the number of entrants. And as you can see, when I made that change, the change was actually reflected on the right side in the graph. Also, you can use the estimated duration at the bottom of the graph when you're changing the length to see what the total duration of your event will be. In addition, you can customize every aspect of the session information, practice, qualifying, heat races, consolations, and of course, the final feature race. Because the beta UI allows us to develop features that are robust and complex, this feature will be exclusively available on the beta UI. Once you've made all of the changes, you can hit save. Say you forgot what you selected. You can always preview it using the preview format button. We are very excited to release the brand new heat racing configuration feature that will be available in Season 3 of iRacing.
Back live in beautiful Montreal, Quebec, Canada, as the sun is setting over Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in the biggest city of Quebec, not the capital being Quebec City, of course. Marco Barbanera here with you at X-Racing TV. It's the Euro V8, 15 seconds to the end of the warm-up for the second race. Sadly, issues with Discord. Discord has got a big problem with their servers, so basically the entire system is down, and this means that poor Sam has been locked out of our Discord. Hopefully Discord will solve the problem so Sam can join us back for this race. So for the time being you will have to endure me doing a solo commentary as the practice session is over and we can go through the starting grid for this second race of the season. It's Richard Wormingham starting in pole position, then it's Chris Jackson second, Michael Evdoka and Diego Catalan in fourth, then Tony Kusterman, Johnny Brandon, Jake Barton, Tanaka, Nikolai Bokatairev and Harald Schedler in 10th, Samuel Buzin, Greg Carr in position 11 and 12, Clyde Whiting, Gary Croft, Carsten Pitchner, Klaus Winkler, then Charles Draco did a fantastic team at the top of the broadcast, Sergei Glaskov, Michael Müller, Jean-Philippe Pousselin. Then we have Bill Switzer, Edward Raprager, Nicole Foggy starting in 23rd, Taylor Lane, Philip Antonia, Andrew Hoffman, Andrew Woodward and Igor Bembich. Round up the field, no, it's Ben Gregory starting in P29. Always a very quick starting grid when we go through the reverse race, because it's only 1 minute of waiting time as the lights are on, and we start for the second race here from Montreal. It's going to be a 30-lap race, so quite a long one as they go through the first corner for the first time. Beautiful scenery with the sun setting, Wormingham, Jackson, Evdoka, Catalan. Chris Jackson now is in the lead. They have to be super careful there as they go 3 wide through the first chicane. Somebody needs to lift, they don't. Evdoka gets hit. I think also Klusterman and Catalan, they are all able to squeeze through. Remains to be seen. Okay, no, Tony didn't squeeze through. He's out of the race at the moment, or at least is sitting in a very precarious position in the wall. And Jackson has got to slow down, and Richard Wormingham is in the lead right now, the defending club champion. Some sort of a gentleman class. It identified by the yellow stripe, which he doesn't have anymore. He's now having a nice red stripe. Catalan, Evdoka, Brandon and Barton. The event viewer is going absolutely crazy, trying to get a replay of the Tony Klusterman crash. Here we go, so they go 3 wide, they touch, and then something happens to Tony. Oh, it's either on the power too early and then a spin, or he got some suspension damage with it, which I don't think he does, because looking from his onboard right now, it seems to be good. So he was eager to get the power down there. Fortunately, it didn't work, and he's now sitting in the back of the pack, P24 for him. Some other slowdowns, you can see drivers dropping down. There's a guy facing the wrong way, which is never a good idea. Trying to get it's Jake Barton, and then he gets a big hit. Massive crash on the front stretch for Jake Barton and another driver who got into him. We will get back to that later, because at the front it's getting feisty once again. Wormingham and Catalan, first and second. None of these drivers have got their first race win in the series, so they both would be first-time winners. Of course, there is a massive way to go for these guys, and they've got Michael Evdoka sitting in third as Catalan goes for the inside on the Richard Wormingham. He gets the move done and is sitting in first place now, and trying to pull away as Evdoka, also another rookie in Harald Stedler. You see just at the base of the podium sitting in P4, so we know he's got a decent chance as well. Of course, with double the distance, 30 laps, it's going to be quite interesting. To see what happens in this race. if they complete another lap. And as per usual, let's bring up the battle box then. Back there, Arostadler, I think, dealing sadly another slowdown. We are seeing many more of this in this second race than in the first race. I guess it's due to the chaotic nature of the reverse grid, that everyone is somewhat, maybe slightly out of position, even though we got a very small reverse with 7 drivers. So it's not like it's a massive reverse. And just keep an eye on Nicole Foggy, who is already up to P7. Here we go. So a fantastic start from Foggy. He's already gained 16 places, made his way through the various troubles that happened in front of him, and now sitting nicely in 7th place and looking really good. If we can just bring up the gaps right now, he's sitting 8 seconds away from the race lead, so not a massive gap. Another driver that it's very nice to have back for this season is Nikolai Bogatayrev with his unmistakable white and red livery, defending himself from Ben Gregory, teammate of Michael F. Doka. In front of them it's Gary Croft and Edward Raprager. Gary Croft representing, I think, the newly minted NQR Rest of the World team. I didn't hear this name in the past. Final chicane, gotta be super careful, moving up quickly at the front because Tanaka and Brandon are going at it. Tanaka, one of the most spectacular drivers you can see in the Euro V8. Hopefully he's back for the full season. He only was here for the media day last season. Brandon on the inside, gotta be careful of the slowdown there, seems to be good, and he gets the 4th place out of Victor Tanaka's hands. Trying to get back to that crash for our race 1 winner, Jake Barton, who got fast repair and is back on the track, but of course he's a long way back. Going backwards, so he probably got turned on the front stretch, and after that I don't know, I think he should have stopped, but of course it's always easy to say it from here. Maybe this is the crash. Like I said, in this track in particular, the event viewer likes to go crazy, so he goes too hard on the curve. Then he gets hit, and he keeps going and going and going, like Sebastian Vettel at Singapore. And then it's a big hit, but also a massive case of luck contact there. So unlucky for Barton and for I think it was Hoffman maybe that hit him. Birmingham now defending from Michael F. Doka. Klaus Winter goes for a move on Sambusin, who also loses the car momentarily and gets going again, losing I think 3 positions, now 4 positions, maybe even 5 in the meantime.
I'm back.
And we
sorry
have Sam
about all of
Fitzpatrick.
that.
Yeah,
Yes, Discord issues. They just fixed it. Back down for about 25 minutes.
Not only you are back, but you also scared the crap out of me, because being in streamer mode, I don't hear the boom when somebody enters the Discord.
So that was Michael Abdoka just going straight past Richard Warmium. Made it look very easy. I have, of course, been following the race. Nicole Foggy, don't know if you've commented on it yet, Marco. He could win this race from 23rd on the grid. He is absolutely storming along. But, of course, Diego Catalan, with a healthy lead currently, he's really pulling away on this lap. And yeah, quite a chaotic race. I'm disappointed I couldn't commentate on that. Hopefully there'll be plenty more action from now to the end.
So you saw Jake Barton with that big problem there, going the wrong way and then getting hit in the front stretch. Also, once again, due to that problem that the drivers from down under have, they have such a big, uncertainty with their latency, and he didn't get hit, but the system registered a big hit, and of course, this means that probably he's going to be not in the lead of the championship after this race, and Diego Catalan, in the meantime, has absolutely checked out Sam over Michael Evdoka in P2 and Wormingham in P3, with Brandon also trying to come back, and Foggy. What a fantastic race for him, already in P5. So he is going very, very strong right now.
Yeah, and was the fastest driver of anyone on that last lap. Both him and his teammate Johnny Brandon were faster than the race leader Diego Catalan, but they are going to have to come back with quite something if they're going to win this race, as Foggy almost drops it at the hairpin. Really locked up the rears there, but he just about gets it turned, doesn't lose too much time. And Docker just easing away from Wormingham. He did seem to have a bit more pace than Wormingham in race 1, so expect that to continue. And of course, it's XBR 3, 4, 5. And, well, I don't want to be harsh to XBR or anything, but in the past in this series, when they have been in this situation, Richard Wormingham has made it quite simple for his teammates to overtake him, let's say. I imagine today is going to be the same, because, of course, it makes sense, because Brandon and Foggy are fighting for the race winners, whereas Wormingham is kind of just trying to pick up any scraps he can obtain.
We got Philip Antonia in the pits. Once again, I made that because he also pitted in race 1. I'm not seeing any crash for him in the event viewer, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Back to the XVR train.
Their stripe does look absolutely fantastic. A stripe on any car is fantastic. Color coordinated well. That is quite something. And watching them do, well, I'm sure they'll take this opportunity to put it on their website or something. It does look absolutely fantastic.
Okay, so a little bit on, I didn't have the chance to touch on the race strategy, of course, and of course our secret informer, Tony Klusterman, said to us that second race the drivers need, not us, at a minimum of 5 or 6 gallons of fuel for those that are very good with fuel saving, and 8 gallons for those that are really pushing hard. And tire, where, like we said in the first race, is absolutely massive, so everyone, we expect everyone to take tires, as Wormingham, I think, moves out of the way gently to let Brandon and maybe even also Foggy by. Yes, that's exactly what happens.
Yes, Richard, it's Johnny. I think that was the order there. As they both ease past Brandon and Foggy past Wormingham. So Wormingham might be able to keep in touch with these guys, but of course now, Brandon versus Evdoka. Well, these two, of course, Brandon used to Evdoka used to be the same team with these guys. I can't actually remember, what was the name of that team before XVR? Oh dear, I think I forgot the name.
We will get back to you, because I have it in the back of my mind as well,
yes.
But I can't remember
it. Dear. It was only 6 months ago. It'll come to mind, I'm sure. But these four used to all be parts of that team. Of course, Michael Evdoka no more was part of Fitstyle Motorsport, along with Ben Gregory as well, as they go into the hairpin. Evdoka defending. Of course, he's not really got anything to lose here. He's not sure if he's going to take part in the entire season, so he will quite happily hold up these drivers for as long as he possibly can as they head down into the chicane. Of course, we've already seen issues down here so far in this race. Tanaka also might be able to get himself involved in this one. But to be fair to Evdoka, his pace is good. Low 37s, only half a second off the race leader as Brandon gets an awesome launch. Evdoka tries to defend. He'll be on the outside through this kink, but will be on the inside for the proper turn 1. Foggy also gets involved as well, as Evdoka down the inside into turn 1. Brandon, though, all the way around the outside. This is a fantastic move from Johnny Brandon, and he pulls it off fantastically, as Nicole Foggy also just goes past his rival as well. And, well, it was valiant defense there from Evdoka. He didn't want to give it up, but he has dropped down into 4th.
Okay, now 2 questions, of course. Evdoka, will he be able... 3 questions. If Evdoka... The first is if Evdoka will be able to keep up the pace with his 2 rivals. He's a very good driver, but like you said, he's not... you know, he's had a little bit of a time off with his cars, and he's not doing the entire season, so he's focusing maybe on other vehicles. Second question is, will Johnny and Nicole fight against each other? And third, with 21 laps to go, 5 seconds in the lead, will Diego Catalan will he be able to hold this 5 seconds gap and take the race win, which would be, of course, a win in his very first round. Also, since he's an experienced V8 Supercar driver, I said that he was not. After the race 1 result, is not eligible for the club championship, but he wasn't in the first place because the organizers gave him, you know, the red stripe immediately because of his past experience, which I think is a very smart idea.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think I think your second question there was, are the XVR drivers going to fight? Well, that's really interesting. Because Brandon, of course, is the defending champion. He is ahead of Foggy, obviously, in the championship right now after Foggy's mare of a race 1. And so he doesn't really have any obligation to turn past, but at the same time, Foggy is faster. I think from what we've learned so far in this race, remember, Brandon started 6th, Foggy started in 23rd. It's quite clear that Foggy is the fast driver. You can just see visibly, Brandon isn't necessarily as dominant as he has been in the past in this series. And so, for the team, it would be best for Foggy to go past because he'd have a better chance at catching Catalan. But these two are going to be fighting for the championship, and so it is pretty much a head-to-head battle. It's really interesting, this. They might well be on Discord right now, talking to one another, discussing what they're going to do. Or not discussing, most likely.
I just went to the V8 Supercar website as Foggy goes for the inside. And they are going to be, I think, side by side on the backstretch. Let's see who gets the better exit. I was to the Euro V8 website. There's an old picture from the Penn Power sponsoring days. Maybe the name of the team was GTL Racing?
No, that wasn't it.
No? Oof. Mystery goes on then. I remember them in a different livery, so it was back when I was already commentating. That's for sure.
Oh, he's got to slow down here, Johnny Brandon, so that does make things a lot more simple for the XVR team, because he's going to lose a position to Nicole Foggy. He's lost a position as well to Michael Evdoka.
Of course, in the chat somebody says Bodak.
Ah, there you go.
And they used to have, if you remember, different color sponsorship for every driver, just like XVR right now.
Yes. Has Evdoka got a slowdown here? Yes, he does. Now, can he be able to hold off Brandon? No, he's not. Brandon round the outside. And, well, Evdoka will be kicking himself for that one. And he might lose a position as well to Warmingham. How much does he have to slow down here? Is Warmingham going to get in touch? Of course, Evdoka will try to just stop it on the apex if he still has a little bit more to serve. But I think he's clear now. And, well, that's the one of the difficulties of this circuit. It's a bit of a frustrating element of this circuit, it must be said. But of course, the drivers just have to deal with it. And yeah, that's quite costly for the pair. Then Brandon back up to 3rd. Evdoka still in 4th.
Now, in the previous lap, at this point of the lap, they got basically 0.5 of a second over Catalan. Now, due to all the passing, etc., they only gained around 0.2 of a second on Catalan, which is he needs to push a bit harder, I think, because they are catching him. But still, I think we're going to have a great battle for the race win, because it's not very easy to pass Catalan. We also saw that in Donington Park as well last week. So I'm all for a nice battle at the front. As look at this, Gregory and Buzin going side by side for P11.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked about Benjamin Gregory too much so far today. As Ben is down the inside and he's dropped it. And, well, I think that's a move. Because it's going to be Busan going off, getting a slowdown. I think they're both slowing down, are they? I'm not quite sure right now. Gregory goes through. Well, he managed to drop it. I'm not sure if he had a slowdown to serve as well, because he seemed to maybe cut the first part of the chicane. Busan the second. So inviting Gary Croft into this battle as well, but he is up into 11th place from cost 27th on the 29th on the grid. So
yes, he was starting, I think, at the very back of the pack, going through the starting grid a bit earlier. So this is a very nice comeback for him, and I have to say I really like this new livery.
yes, the Demon Tweaks Fitstone Motorsport livery does look very good. Ben actually designed it himself as he's under pressure from Samuel Busan. He's back down the inside. Well, nice duel between these two, although has Busan cut the corner there. Oh, maybe he hasn't.
Wow, that I think that is as close as it gets to getting a slowdown at that chicane.
Back comes Gregory. Oh, nearly runs into the back of the Assyria Racing driver. Well, if Croft wasn't already in this battle, he well and truly is now. Great to watch these guys whilst it all kind of calms down a little bit up ahead. Also got Rappuga versus Whiting. Rappuga having a much better go of it in race 2 than he did in race 1. As Gregory's looking every which way to go for the move. Might even be better for one of these drivers to come into the pits because they're losing each other so much time. And once again, they're side by side across the start-finish line. Croft now only half second behind Jay Cotts, another, I think, Dustmaster driver. Sorry, Beast Racing driver. Busan is off. Doesn't want to cut the circuit, and he loses out to both Gregory and Croft eventually.
So let's go back and check quickly the two big names involved in a crash in the beginning of the race. Jake Barton, P25 is I think one lap down, if I'm not mistaken, and not one lap down, but very far behind. It's Tony Klusterman here, sitting in P22 at the moment, as Anthony Woodward goes into the pits. So a long way to go for Tony after that uncharacteristic mistake just at the very beginning of the race. That 3 wide moment, Sam, I don't know if you caught that, but it was absolutely crazy. They made it work, and then Tony maybe too eager to get back to his rivals there, uncharacteristically floored the gas pedal a bit too early, and he went around, and he was very lucky that no one got into him because he was sitting facing backwards in one of the narrowest parts of the track.
Yeah, I saw that one, and it was a miracle that they didn't all crash before the corner even happened. As Gregory now goes past Whiting, so I was saying how good Whiting was going, but well, he has got quite a lot of damage on that car, and I wonder if he's going to come into the pits here, Clyde Whiting, because he was quite far ahead of Gregory before. Let's see on this lap where he's lost a little bit of time in Sector 1. Really not sure what's going on with him. He really lost the second, on that lap, Clyde Whiting, so I must have just completely misjudged the gap between the two of them. But he is now down into 10th place, and almost looking like he's going to fall further back with Gary Croft very close on his tail, his teammate, of course. Victor Tanaka just came into the pits as well. From, I think he was 8th. He was fighting with Rappuga, I think.
And just now in the bottom right of your screen, delta between Foggy and Catalan, you can see how quickly it is dropping. Right now we are at 2.5 seconds between the two of them. So Foggy is definitely going to catch Catalan. Will he be able to pass him? He has the time, he has a little bit more than half of the race left. So, of course, he will not catch him immediately. So, it's going to be a while, and also the pit stops will play a part into this. Who is going to gamble? Sam, who is going to maybe not take the tires or put just a little bit less fuel? Who saved enough to do, like Tony was saying to us in the pre-race briefing, a little bit smaller amount, which, you know, in a field as tight as this one, can make a huge difference.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting, that one. Klisterman has already pitted as well, so I think he might be able to go to the end of the race with the fuel ace cars. Jaycott just picks up a slowdown, and also Chris Jackson. So they're both really slow. Must be painful for those two guys. And, well, Jaycott really serving quite a big slowdown there. Eventually
Poor
gets back going.
I get the camera in for the first time in the race, and he picks up a slowdown. But I did say in the beginning that his video at the beginning of the broadcast, the new intro for the series is absolutely fantastic. So I think, Sam, we can begin and have like a pit stop watch for these guys. Who will pit, who will not. Because halfway through the race, also look at that very nice sunset. Oh, look at that. Oh, you see, sometimes I get things right. I put the camera on Diego and he goes in for his pit stop, and this means Nicole Foggy takes the lead. Of course, remember, this is one of those tracks that still has to have a proper night mode implemented. So when it gets dark, it gets really dark, even though I think we are in the safe, because there is, with only half the race left, I don't think that the sun will go down in that time period. So Catalan goes in, takes the faster pair, changes tires, puts the fuel in as well, and we will use, I think, his pit stop time more or less as a benchmark to compare him to the other drivers. So we just wait. He spent exactly 16 seconds on the jacks, and his pit lane time will be 49.7 seconds. So see who goes longer, who goes shorter. It's going to be super interesting. Behind him, Greg Carcross Winter, Edward Rappager, Clyde Whiting, and Chris Jackson are all pitting. This promotes, of course, Charles Draycott up to P9. Let's go now to the new leader, Nicole Foggy. Will he bite the bullet and pit immediately? And of course, Diego Catalan, as I think, if we bring up the track map, if I can find it, has a nice, clean track in front of him.
Yeah, certainly looking good for these couple of laps. Also, Marco, just check your live timing. I'm just having a couple of issues following what you're watching. But yeah, Foggy 2 seconds ahead of Johnny Brandon, and yeah, looking pretty convincing at the moment, but of course these seem to be a couple of big laps. Fortunately for him, he's got 2 laps to do it. Well, how long is he going to be able to go? Fresh tyres, I assume, for these drivers. So it should be Catalan with the extra pace at this point. But, well, Foggy's going to have to keep on playing in some very good lap times if he's going to get anywhere close, and of course Brandon as well. Will be fancying his chances of Docker. Very much getting detached now, 5.5 seconds off the top 2 on the circuit.
I'm doing a good old Control-Alt-Delete of the overlay. So
well, it's working for me now.
Oh, no.
Wait, what?
Which is scary, because I haven't launched it back again. So.
Oh, well, I'm now just following, I think, I don't even know. Whatever's going on. Also, Tanaka just making his way back up the field currently. He's, of course, already made a pit stop, so he's caught himself a little bit in some traffic. So maybe losing himself a little bit of time. Of course, is Foggy going to pit on this lap is the big question. Who is going to pit on this lap? He's got a 31.4 second lead over Diego Catalan currently for the Dream Factory team, which is a fantastic name. As Foggy, I think he's not going to go into the pits. Yep, stays out for one more lap. He's certainly giving himself a chance. And Brandon in.
So Brandon is in. So Sam, if you reboot your live timing, we should be all set, I think.
Nice one.
Hopefully. Oh, first race of the season for us as well, so
Well, we did have the media day to supposedly sort out these issues. But, oh, yeah, so.
As now we have Mueller, Tanaka, and Carr, if I'm not mistaken, all battling against each other. Battle box back up, yes, for P9, as Evdoka is also in. So, Johnny Brandon is out. He had a 52-second stop. So, longer than Catalan, who is in fact in front of him. P3
Yeah.
and P4.
8 seconds between the two of them. It was down to about 5 seconds. So, yeah, he really did lose some time, as you said, Marco. Of course, Richard Warmingham now up into second place. Only, in fact, so there's still quite a few drivers yet to pit. Oh no, sorry, there aren't too many. As Foggy comes into the pits now. So this is the big one. He should be behind Katslan, almost certainly. Katslan on that last lap actually did a 35.8. So those fish tires really are paying off for him. The question is, can Foggy come out of the pits and be in touch with him? So to catch him later on in the race. Also, can he stay ahead of his teammate Johnny Brandon? That could be quite a close one. As Foggy trundles down the pit. Now, unfortunately, they extended the pit lane around this circuit for iRacing. I think it was so that you couldn't gain an advantage by going down the pit lane because it's such a short pit lane here. So it is a little bit longer than it ought to be. As Foggy comes out of the pits, he is behind Katslan, but he's ahead of Foggy, pretty much where we expected. He has got only 3.5 seconds to catch. It was a good pit stop from Nick Foggy.
Yes, he had a 49 seconds pit stop, so faster than Brandon, marginally faster than Evdoka. So now we wait for Richard Wormingham to get into the pits.
Yeah, interesting how these pit stops have kind of ended up with quite a variance between when the drivers came into the pits, how early Katslan was, of course, but just fitting those fresh tyres, protecting himself from the undercut, proved to very much be the best decision for him.
And here he comes. Wormingham is in the pits, so Catalan will inherit the race lead.
I think it's inevitable at this point with the fresher tyres, Foggy's going to catch Katslan. It's just a question of can he get the move done, and of course Katslan would prefer it to only defend for 4 laps rather than 10 laps, of course.
Exactly, that's a very, very nice point you are making.
But I think the most important thing for Katslan is to have the tyres once Foggy turns up on the scene. Of course, the track relatively cool in this second race, only 22 degrees compared to 41 in the opening race. Of course, in the sunset, this one. So, of course, Katslan now leading the race. 3 seconds ahead of Nicole Foggy now. And then it's Johnny Brandon. Michael Evdoka looking like he's going to be best of the rest once again. 5th place in race 1, 4th place in race 2. He may well come out of this race, or out of this meeting in 3rd place in the championship. But maybe not quite showing quite the raw speed that we saw, which of course brought him the season 4 title. Richard Warmingham in 5th place. Great car, really under the radar, up into 6th. I'm pretty sure he is already pitted. The Never Quit Racing driver really impressing out there, and it's Victor Tanaka in 7th place, and Michael Mueller in 8th. Edward Rapriger in 9th, and Tony Klisterman, after that early pit stop, early spin, he's up into 10th place. It's looking like it's going to be a decent recovery drive.
Oh, Catalan
from
is off
the Canadian.
into the first corner. He is around and Foggy takes the lead. So it was much easier than expected for Nicole Foggy. There was a big plum of smoke into the first corner, and that was sadly Diego Catalan going around, and we will get a replay of that immediately, because it is a race-changing moment for sure. He was lapping a car. He was too aggressive in doing that move, I think. He was too aggressive. He tried to go for a gap that wasn't there, and he's around. So penalty. We talked about this earlier, Sam. The new drivers, even though he's an experienced driver in the V8s, new drivers will have to adapt in this championship to be, first of all, consistent. Now, good for him that he only dropped to P2, but now he risks also being attacked by Johnny Brandon, and you can see they are in the same picture. So Johnny is coming and coming, he's 2 seconds behind, and it remains to be seen what kind of damage does Diego have, because it was a pretty hard hit over the side of that lapped car, which I think, I don't know, I'm trying to get who it was. Maybe it was Carsten Pitchman, I think. It is unmistakably yellow race car.
Well, Brandon's already made up a lot of time across Catalan after that, and he was pretty fortunate actually not to lose out more time, because it turned out to be quite a nice car, 270, and didn't lose too much time to get back going again. Lost about 5 seconds there, but Brandon now only 1 second behind. Maybe it was just the pressure put on by Foggy, which kind of forced Catalan into that move. And once again, he's having to lap. I think that's Chaz Draycott now. Yeah, Draycott losing out quite a bit. The Beast Racing driver, and Catalan's going to have to stay behind him for a couple more corners here. Brandon, well, I think it's inevitable that now he's going to catch him. And of course, he'll be desperate to finish within 1 place of his teammates.
Gary Croft is in the pits, one of the last drivers that was yet to pit, as Draycott on the outside makes it easy for Brandon, and now Brandon will push really hard. I think a battle between, like you said, between these two, Catalan and Brandon, is a matter of time.
Of course, Catalan, after that mistake, sometimes it can cause your driving start to go a little bit tentative, just out of fear that's going to happen again, and this is the same situation they found himself in a couple of laps ago with the 576 car of Pichman, as you said before, Marco. As Brandon really gets close and all over the place now as Catalan just about got enough speed out. I'm sure Carsten isn't going to be too kind to Diego after, of course, Diego nearly took him out of the race, as they are nose to tail right now. Can Brandon benefit from this one? He doesn't want to risk any positions, as Brandon, once again, he's looking every which way, as there's almost a little bit of contact. Ever so close between the driver in 2nd place and the driver way down the order. But there finally goes Catalan. Can Brandon now get past straight away?
Oh,
Catalan's off. And this is surely going to be 2nd place gone. He speeds across, but he's going to have to serve a big slowdown here. And surely it's going to be an XVR 1-2. Johnny Brandon moves up. And, well, unfortunately for Catalan, he's got to pass Carsten for the 3rd time. And this race, really, for him, has fallen to pieces in the last 5 minutes.
And so, from almost the very back of the pack, Nicole Foggy right now looking very good for I'd say a probable race win. And of course, all the points matter in the beginning of the season. The points that you score at the beginning are just as important as the points that you score in the end. In any sport, I always maintain this. people make a big fuss about last-minute goals or race deciding, championship deciding races at the end of the season, but it's more often than not those points you lost at the beginning of the season that sometimes can determine the end of the championship, as now Catalan moves up. For example, remember when Lewis Hamilton blew a tire in 2007 in Turkey? That was
I was 6.
Okay,
that was the last season that I didn't watch of F1, but
Okay.
I do know about it, yeah.
And I remember my father saying, and that was Turkey, early to mid-season, maybe mid-season race, said these are the points that are going to cost Hamilton the championship. He wasn't winning, he was like just sitting, I think, Ferraris were too good, I think, that day. Sitting nicely in like I think 3rd or 4th place. Blew a tire, and that was his race. I think that it's just Draycott sporting some damage. Maybe. No,
Yes.
it's not.
No, it's, yeah.
No, it's his teammate. It's Taylor Lane. Sorry, Chaz.
So I think Chaz just moved up a position there. Yep, past Taylor Lane to Beast Racing drivers. Of course, Beast Racing have got a lot of drivers. They're a very big expanding team, very quickly expanding team. So certainly watch out for them on iRacing and on Apex Racing TV. Of course, they're going to be part of many different series, and they could well become a heavyweight of the BSR TC series and stuff like that in the near future.
And Sam, I have to say, as this is a fight for position, of course, between Pitchman and Draycott, I have to say that their liveries are absolutely fantastic. I think one of the best in the series. As I don't know if Draycott got a slowdown or was just a little bit, he lifted just a bit in order to wait to get the car under his control, because sometimes it's the smartest thing to do. Because sometimes when you have a big sideways moment and then you push immediately, those tires are basically, thanks to the way iRacing works, basically they are at the same temperature as a fried egg, so they are so hot, and you basically have the same kind of grip that having fried eggs in place of tires will give to your car. So it was good, it saved the car, and is now pushing once again, still sitting in P18. Is of course Chaz Draycott. Let's move up to this battle between, or down, no, up. We're moving up to this battle between Whiting, Jackson and Bogatyrev for P12.
There's also a good battle, sorry Marco, between Carr and Tanaka, yeah. These two are not teammates. No, sorry, they are teammates, aren't they?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Past goes one NQR driver past another NQR driver. Tanaka past Carr. He's got 12 seconds to catch up to Rich Warren. Don't think that's going to happen. But Victor Tanaka with a decent performance today. Of course, he wants to be winning races as he has done in the past in this series. But scoring some nice points, a couple of top 10s here at Montreal is not a bad effort.
Tanaka, I was just about to say that whilst I like the new NQR livery, it lacks the color of the previous liveries. Tanaka is actually sporting a Season 4 livery for NQR, and that is absolutely fantastic. Look at that nice blend of colors, so the blue, the yellow, the hints of green, and then back to the black into the rear. So then I think they took it to another level with Season 5 livery, which was even better. I like crazy stuff. The new livery is very good, but too serious for me, It's you can see the stark contrast between the two styles right now that Tanaka is getting a move on car. I hope that they keep Tanaka with his old livery, because it's absolutely fantastic.
Closest battle out there currently, Whiting versus Bogatyrev. Bogatyrev had a fantastic result in race 1. I think he got 8th. He was certainly best of the rest. Currently looking at 14th, so not quite the race he wanted maybe. Clyde Whiting top of the gentleman drivers. after a decent race one. Of course, as down the inside goes Bogotayev. These two have, of course, been in the series from the start. Oh, as Whiting drops it. He's going to have to do a 3-point turn to get back going. And, well, his resistance of P13 was very short-lived.
Yes, only 4 drivers at the beginning of the season in the...
Oh, it's really close for the lead, so. I don't know what's happened to... Foggy just lost 3 seconds on that last lap.
Well, either he's big fuel saving or he made a mistake. I'm looking at the incident counter on the right. I don't see anything strange with Nicole Foggy.
It was in the last sector. It's not fuel saving because he lost 3.5 seconds just in the final sector of the lap.
So maybe a problematic lapping of another car, probably.
Yeah, or slow down potentially.
Yeah, that is quite possible. You are absolutely right. So I think we will focus on these two for the rest of the race. We have not a lot of time left because this time around it will be 3 laps to go as the sun is setting over the Saint Laurent River. I hope it's on the west because that's where the sun sets. The river. Give me, a poetic pass, an artist license, so to speak. Gap is increasing just a bit now. See if, of course, with this track, we were saying it earlier, you cannot afford to make any mistake because next slowdown that Foggy gets, that's the lead gone. And like we said earlier also, it's so easy to get a slowdown around these parts.
Yeah, so it's mainly... Well, it's his to lose, isn't it? Let's face it, for Nicole Foggy. He's not going to be under too much pressure from Johnny Branton because Foggy, today, and certainly in this race too, has been the faster driver. So he ought really not to lose this race lead, but still the pressure that Johnny Branton can implement on you as he cuts that corner quite a bit. Well, we're going to have to watch out for those slowdowns from now to the end of the race because that's going to be the only thing that stops him, I think. He's only got 2 more laps to go after this one. Also, Chris Jackson just got overtaken by Ben Gregory. He's up to 11th place. Oh, sorry, Jackson just got past Gregory, up to 11th place.
See if we can get a replay of that. Yes, here we go. Moving to the first corner. Then continued into the first chicane. And a nice clean move from Chris Jackson there. Yes, rewarded with P11 for that.
I don't think there's any battles going on out there now. No one within 1 second of each other. After such a frantic meeting here at Montreal, we knew it was going to be chaotic. And it has certainly lived up to expectations. And of course, after all of it, it still looks as though it's going to be the old guard of Nicole Foggy and Johnny Branton taking away the top 2 steps on the podium.
And Sam, if this wasn't exciting enough, next week, in 2 weeks' time, we are heading to Japan for a super sprint event, so 3 races at Tsukuba 2000. So, that's going to be great as well.
Yeah, of course, the BSRTC Winter Series heading over there on Thursday as well, and it is a fantastic circuit. Was never a massive fan of it on the Gran Turismo games, but on iRacing, it is absolutely incredible. The flow of the circuit is quite something, and it's going to be so difficult to overtake in these cars. Maybe turn 1 is the only real chance you're going to have. It's going to be tough on the traction zones as well. Could well see a surprise winner there. We've already seen one first-time winner in Jake Burton earlier on today. I think we're probably going to see another one in 2 weeks' time. But I think it's going to be Nicole Foggy taking away his, 7th race victory? Something like that in this race.
White flag is in the air and he's looking good. Also looking good is Michael Evdoka. Will he be able to pull a last lap pass on Diego Catalan? The gap is 0.8 of a second, so I'm not sure, unless he can put some pressure on the Spanish driver who's looking to get his first podium in the series. All in all, I'd say a nice comeback drive for Michael Dock after his long period of period away from V8 supercar racing.
Yeah, he's been straight back on the pace, hasn't he? And he's not necessarily quite on par with Foggy and Brandon, but then at the same time, he's 10 seconds off the lead right now. He's really not far off. Hopefully, I think I would certainly put a pound on him winning a race next time out at Scuba. As Foggy only got a couple more corners to go. Who is that just ahead? It's one of the Never Quit Racing drivers, I think. He's just got to negotiate. But the Joe is going to end race 2. It's going to be Nicole Foggy. He approaches the line at Montreal and he wins race 2 of season 6. He came under big pressure. He had to do it the hard way from 23rd on the grid. But he made it with ease in the end. Nicole Foggy, your race 2 winner tonight. And Diego Katzline did hold on by half a second over Michael Tucker. Those two were 3rd and 4th. And Richard Warmio finished in 5th.
Yes, we're having some issues with now with the YouTube server. So, like I said, first race of the season. We got the cars going past the finish line, I hope. As yeah, it's coming and going. But Sam, I agree with you. It was a fantastic race meeting, and like I said, next week, 2 weeks time, I wish this championship was every week.
Oh, me too.
I keep saying, next week it's going to be a 2-week wait for, and if you remember last season, the Super Sprint race in Japan wasn't exactly a very calm event, if you recall. So, but I'd say for racing, it's a better, the short version of Okayama, where we went there, was, it's rare that a shortened version of a racetrack is actually any good, because the track is designed with one thing in mind, and the moment you start taking away corners, you lose the nature of the racetrack, no? While Tsukuba 2000 is a standalone track, so I think it's a proper racetrack, and we will see some great racing there. Even though you said it's difficult to pass, so we will see. I honestly cannot wait for the race round 2 of the calendar. As we wait for race 2, I think we have more pressing matters at hand. Speaking of which, the race results should be on your screen right now.
Yes, and it's Nicole Foggy taking away his first race victory of the season. Thinking about his 6th race victory in the UMV8, of course, only debuted at the end of the season 4, so he's not bad in this car across the World GT. 2-time champion. Johnny Brandon was only 3/10 off in the end. 2 second places for him. Mr. Consistent he is turning into, but I'm sure he'll take those 2 results. Diego Catalan with his first podium of his career in the UOV8. Michael Docker, season 4 champion. He was very consistent today in 4th within 10 seconds of the lead. Richard Warming was very consistent as well in 5th. There's Victor Tanaka, again consistent from him. A lot of drivers, and so too Greg Carr. Tony Kliesman would have been hoping to be a little bit more consistent. His day kind of went from the highs of pole position, holding on to the lead, to about lap 6 in race 1. Ended up 3rd in that race 1, and of course 8th in this one. Edward Rappiger finished in 9th, and Klaus Winter in 10th. Chris Jackson had a troublesome start, ends up 11th. Benjamin Gregory from last on the grid finished 12th. Very good debut race for him. Nikolai Bogatyv in 13th. There was Michael Mueller, Clyde Whiting, and Anthony Woodward was 1 lap down. There's Carsten Piechman, Chaz Jacob, Guy Croft, Taylor Lane, Harold Stadler, Sergei Glaskov, and then the retirees were Hoffman, Buzan, Burton, Switzer, Busalan, Antonia, and Bembic. Of course, we should almost certainly have some interviews. And currently, we've just got Chaz Draycott, so we'll have a chat with him. And Chaz, your first ever proper race in this series. It was going to always be tough, around such a difficult circuit. That first race in particular with the 40-degree track temperature must have been really, really difficult.
Oh yeah, it's common knowledge that these things are an absolute animal to drive, but they keep a flipping big smile on your face. Let me tell you that. You're coming out of chicanes here. You're on 50% throttle, but like 90 degrees lock just to correct it, and it's a great amount of fun though. Racing in this series is really good, but yeah, that was hard work tonight just to get a 17th and an 18th place. Flipping heck, I've got a lot of work to do going forward this season.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to catch those guys, but it's such a competitive midfield, isn't it? You were fighting for, I think, a top 10 at one point in both races. But then at the same time, if you make a mistake, all of a sudden you can be outside the top 20. It's a really competitive league, isn't it?
Oh, really is. Yeah, the spread of talent you'd expect in this car to be quite massive because, I mean, it is very difficult to drive. I mean, people like Tony and Johnny at the front of the field are just absolute aliens. I mean, Diego Catalan, he came past me like he just had an extra gear in that thing. It was unbelievable. But it's just one of them. You've got to get a lot of seat time and get used to how this car is because no matter what you do, one lap it can be nice to you, not oversteer at all, and the next lap it just wants to kill you. But it's great fun though. Really, really enjoying this so far. But yeah, like I say, a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, definitely. But next time, of course, is Scuba. That's going to be a very different circuit to this, difficult to overtake. And of course, we've got the super sprint there as well. It's a really opportunity. It's a real opportunity, maybe to cause a bit of a surprise. Maybe certainly get your first top 10 there.
Well, it would be if I wasn't away. I think is it on the 26th? Is it?
2 weeks.
Yeah,
26th. Yeah.
I'm away. Unfortunately, I'm in the capital in London, so I won't be racing, I'm afraid. But I'll certainly be watching, though. I'm sure it'll be a right laugh to see these things go around there. That'll be great.
Yeah, it sure will be. And before we let you go, Chaz, any thanks you'd like to give?
Yep, Taylor Lane, my teammate tonight, for doing such a good job. He was staying positive all the way through. We had a bit of a tough night, but it was great. Beast Racing, of course, our sponsors. Busy Bob Lawn Care, Destinations, Prestige Worldwide as well. And, of course, all the guys behind organising Beast Racing and getting us on track. It's fantastic to drive for them.
Thanks, Chaz. And are you commentating anything Tuesday?
Yes, the BSR MX-5s, as always. And also thanks to you guys as well. I'm sure the broadcast has been great. I'm just about to nip off. I'm going to go to Mr. Steve Burke's house for the evening before Autosport tomorrow. So I'll probably watch it at some point tomorrow afternoon once I'm back in.
Awesome. Have a good time there. And we'll see you soon on Apex Racing TV.
Thanks very much, lads. Cheers, boys.
Next up, we've got a few interviews here. Nicole Foggy will go for the race 2 winner, of course. And Nicole, it was not easy from 23rd on the grid. Lining up on the grid, did you think that you had a shot at the race win, or did you just think that the guys ahead up the small reverse grid were just going to be too far ahead?
I wasn't sure. I mean, the track. I was hoping some people get a few slowdowns and stuff, which did happen. It helped a bit. This track is just horrible for slowdowns. I hate it. But yeah, and then Diogo, was it Diego? Yeah, at the front, he got a bit unlucky with the back marker. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I think the back marker was blocking a bit too much. Should have let him past. But it was pretty smooth. Otherwise, I think I just had a pretty smooth race, and there wasn't really any big accidents. I don't think most of the cars ended up sort of to the side of the track. So I didn't get slowed down too much if there was one. So pretty smooth.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, that race one, we got to ask you, what on earth happened?
I have no idea. That's never happened to me in this car, especially. I didn't really think it could happen in this car. Yeah, I think I just downshifted a little bit quicker than usual, and it just went. I did that a few times, about the same afterwards, and it didn't pop the engine, but it did it that time. Maybe I was just a little bit faster than usual. Not sure.
Yeah, it was a very unusual circumstance. Never seen that before. Of course, next time we head to Scuba, very different circuit. Of course, you'll get some practice in the BSR Radical for that circuit. Yeah, how are you feeling towards that?
I think it's going to be quite tough with the. I'm not so good out of sort of hairpin sort of stuff, slow corners in this car, so I think it's going to be a bit. I think there's quite a few on that track. I've not driven it that much either, so we'll see what happens with that. Looking.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we let you go, Nicole, any shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, just to the Team XVR and to you guys for doing a good broadcast.
Thanks, Nicole. And we will see you on Monday, I guess, for the World GT.
Will do.
Next up, we should have a chat with Johnny Branton, of course, championship leader now, of course. And Johnny, I would say with your drone today, you weren't, risking it too much. You were very much thinking of the points game. You didn't get a race win, but 2 second places couldn't be much better start to the season.
Hi guys, yeah, happy with that. Didn't drive very well, to be honest. Made a lot of mistakes, a lot of slowdowns. I think I got 3 slowdowns, hit the wall twice, had damage, and then for some reason I'm using loads of fuel, so I had to take more fuel than anybody else in the team, like 2 gallons worth more fuel. So yeah, it's and only just had enough. So I got some thinking to do. We're all on the same setup, so I'm not entirely sure why that is. But yeah, leading the championship as a result. Just sorry to the Aussie guy. What's his name?
It is Jake Burton.
Jake Burton. Yeah, sorry to him. I got a slow down and touched the wall, and sort of got right out of it to not hit the wall too hard. And I think he avoided me and lifted off, and then he got hit from behind. So kind of my fault. So apologies to him for that if he's watching.
Yeah, it was a very disappointing circumstance that, but Jake was really impressive, and also, of course, Diego as well, really impressive debutants to this series. Of course, you were kind of following Nicole for parts of the race with a couple of laps to go when Nicole made that mistake. I think it was at the final chicane. Did you kind of think, where can I make the move, or were you just waiting for another mistake and thinking, well, if he doesn't make a mistake, I'll settle for second?
I was trying. I thought I'd get him. I made too many mistakes to deserve it. I think Nickel deserved it. He started way further back and come through. I would have taken it if I could have done, but nah, it just wasn't going to happen. So too many mistakes for me today. So happy with the way it was. But we were racing. I know you think we play games sometimes, but the only rule is we don't hit each other. We're free to race all the time. So I would have taken it if I could have done. It was just too good there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope you'll have an opportunity in 2 weeks' time at Scuba. Before we let you go, Johnny, any thanks you'd like to give?
Just thanks to my teammates and everyone that organises the league. It's a great league. Really happy that it started because this is the one I most enjoy. And I've got to put a shout out to a friend of mine, Mr. O'Shea. Just say hello to him because he always moans that I don't say hello. So there you go. It's done. Thanks, guys.
There you go. So, see you in 2 days' time, Johnny, for the World GT.
Yeah. Look forward to it. Cheers.
Okay, a couple more interviews. Tony Kloosterman next. And Tony, that race 1, great pole lap, absolutely superb. You were in the lead and then just picked up the slowdown. It must have been so frustrating, but it's so easy to do around this circuit.
It is, and when you have a hot shoe like Jake Burton behind you, it's a little easier. But yeah, Jake was putting a lot of pressure on me, and I made a mistake. And then when I was behind Diego, I got another slowdown there. So, the first race, 3rd place in the end, I guess is okay. And the second race didn't start off very well. It looks like I just spun myself around there in turn 4 or turn 3. And it went kind of downhill from there. So 8th place in the second race, I guess, is okay.
Yeah, it's decent recovery because, of course, you were in the wall with just a few seconds into the race. With your strategy, you just pitted on lap 9, I think it was, and then went to the end. Did you have to do too much overtaking up there?
A little bit. It was busy. Let's say that, and you know, there was some incidents in and around me, so it was yeah, full concentration. I had to pit early just to get repairs, so you know, tires were fine at the end.
Of course, the big positive for you and Chris is that your pace today was really good, and also Greg as well. Chris, in particularly in race one, I was looking at him, and he was absolutely storming along. You know, faster than the majority of the race leaders. That must be positive for you guys. That you know that you got to the pace. It's just about kind of materializing it.
A lot of work this week on setups, and yeah, Chris had good pace. Greg had a great result. Victor made a surprise showing today, so it was nice to see him out. So good result from him as well.
Yeah, so a very good day for the Never Quit Racing team. And before we let you go, Tony, any shout outs you'd like to give?
Sustainability, D4 Pet Services, KSW Painting for sponsoring the series, and obviously you guys for the great job that you do each and every week. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. And yeah, see you in a couple of minutes. Sorry, a couple of weeks. And just going to have one more interview with Ben Gregory. Of course, debutante today. And Ben, how did you find it out there? Of course, your first ever race in this series.
It was manic, and I loved it every second.
And of course, this car chat combination is just so difficult with the walls. Was that the main issue for you, or was it kind of just the racing? Because it must have been so intense out there.
Oh, definitely was. Like there was a like super close to some of the cars for quite a few laps. I didn't know where to pass. It was, especially getting on the throttle, it was terrifying. So you think, oh no, I'm gonna pin it in a wall if I push it too hard. It was no. I can definitely understand why the F1 drivers call it a street circuit, especially in a car which is as leery as this. It's a lot of fun. Can't wait for the next race actually.
Yeah, of course, Scuba is the next one. That's going to be a difficult circuit to overtake on. And like I said to Chaz earlier on, you know, a real opportunity at causing a bit of an upset because once you get yourself into a decent position, hard for people to take it off you.
Oh yeah, it's going to be hard to get around that track as well. With cars doing 50-odd second laps, I think that's going to be absolutely terrifying. The speeds that people are going to be catching each other.
Well, it's been great to have you along today, Ben. And before we let you go, any shout outs you'd like to give?
Michael for giving me a lot of help, like setting up the car and actually getting used to this. Chance and for giving me the inspiration, and Clyde for also letting me in for quite late notice, to be fair as well. I'm super happy to be in this, and can't wait.
Thanks, Ben. And yeah, we'll see you in Monday, I think, won't it?
Yeah, definitely will.
Nice one. Well, of course, I think that pretty much wraps us up for tonight. So, of course, just tomorrow we've got the the Apex Racing League's 3.5 League. That'll be midday, I think, 14 GMT, and then on Monday we've got the World GT Championship, and also the Masters, and a couple more broadcasts as well on Apex Racing TV next week, which you should certainly catch by subscribing to our channel, of course. But for now, from me and from Marco as well, we'll say goodbye, and we will see you next time.